another part, which is a real-life gun and a lot of blood. And they were inexorably linked by vampire aliens, Orgons, 12-pack, only 50 bucks. They hate my Orgon. Who? Them. And if you don't know who they are, you're already one of them. They can be whoever you want to be. Guy cuts you off while you're driving? Reptilian. Delivery driver gives you the wrong order? Reptilian. Person talking too loud in the cinema? Guess what? Reptilian. Sick of these Haitian reptoids! Let's give it a go. Well, first off, right, like all good true crime stories, you gotta start with a murder. Deep in the Pocono Mountains, literally beside a place called Mount Pocono, lies the small area of Tobyhanna, PA. It's a small, depressed town that has been stuck in a time loop, where every day is 50 years ago. It's surrounded by parks and wilderness, where Eric Green would have loved it. And in Tobyhanna lies the road of Laurel Drive. At 661 Laurel Drive, right opposite the Colba Township Volunteer Fire Company, lies a small, kinda sorta run-down little one-story house, formerly a trailer. Pretty nondescript place, one that fades from memory before your eyes have even moved on. It looks like it would have been dark inside, with only a couple of small little windows, but dark inside was how those inside liked it. Away from prying eyes, you know. But like those prying eyes with like the slits in them.
Now on with your emergency. Okay, I need you to calm down. What is going on?
My boyfriend had a gun. He grabbed me and he told me put this here. He grabbed me and he told me to press this trigger. Oh my God! He's dead. He's dead. This is a nightmare, please.
Calm down. What is your name?
My name is Barbara Rogers.
Barbara, where did you get shot?
No, I think it was in the torso. No, it's in the head. 20 minutes.
That call was made on the 15th of July 2017 at 2:38 a.m. And swiftly after, the Pocono Mountain Regional Police, they rocked up to 661 Laurel Drive to see the scene. It was a hot, humid morning, and inside was a shithole, I guess you'd kind of say. The crime scene was, in fact, an apartment at the back of that house. A mouse would say they didn't have enough room. The place was kind of a cramped little dump. Inside it was dark, and it stank, and not just of the recently deceased. Blood and brains were kind of everywhere, and on the ground lay the body of 32-year-old Stephen Mineo. The screaming that was in the officer's ears was coming from 42-year-old Barbara Rogers. She was sitting on the floor beside Stephen, who lay there, and he had a bullet entry wound directly right smack in his forehead. From how it looked, it seemed like the handgun had been pressed against the front of his head, while the back of his head was all over the bed. There was alcohol and pills strewn about the place, and on the surface this seemed pretty clear-cut. A domestic violence incident, substance abuse, whatever else, leads Barbara Rogers to either on purpose or accidentally shooting her partner in the head. That whatever else, though, would be an entire world of whatever else.
Again, Barbara, my name is John Borman. I'm one of the detectives here. Barbara, this is a tape recorder. It tape records a voice from here.
Yes.
Okay. I know you went through the traumatic event tonight. I want to talk to you a little bit about that. You're not under arrest. Can you tell me exactly what happened tonight?
Tonight, yes. He took the gun, started putting it into my hand. He goes, "Here, take it, point it at me. Point it." He just starts grabbing it, saying, "Put it in my hand." He goes, "Point it at me and shoot it right now." That's when it went off, right there.
Now, Barbara said the handgun went off by accident, but the investigators and the detectives had a little inkling that there was more here than meets the eye. Just how much more they had no clue. And so the police, they took Barbara back to the station to get her, even in her shocked state, 2 hours after she called 911 to try and tell the police and explain what happened.
I understand that this was an accident, but I need you to be as specific as you can because we have to prepare the scene to what you're telling us.
Well, he took his gun. He just starts putting it in my hand and he's pointing it at his direction. It just went off.
Now Barbara, who I can kind of only describe in this picture, looks like she's melting. She had a bit of a meltdown at the station.
And the thing is, ever since there's a woman named Sherry Schreiner, and okay, he used to be close friends with her. He used to follow her. He was really good friends with her. She runs a religious cult, some type of weird religious cult. And she's on Facebook, and she talks about like alien stuff.
Are either one of you two in a cult?
Not anymore. See, we were both friends with her, but then one day out of the blue, she just turned on us, you know.
Now speaking of body hacking, aliens, and telepathy, I mean, I'm sure all of that is in there somewhere. You gotta look after your bad self, right? Because, hey, for all we know, we don't have proof that reptoids don't exist. Just saying it like it is. So to ensure that online, you are protected from reptilians and their friends, or maybe from Sherry Schreiner and the Schrinerites, you need to protect yourself. And that is where NordVPN enters the frame. NordVPN is the online service keeping you safe on the internet. With a single click, your IP address is hidden and you can be in any country you want to be. When I'm researching these like true crime stories, I often run into can't access the content in your location. All the time, because a lot of us GDPR blocked. Well, guess what? I use NordVPN literally every time I'm researching stories, so I don't run into that problem. And you know what? You can too. And with my special link, that is nordvpn.com/thatchapter, you get a deal that is just for you. And that deal is a big old super sweet discount on a 2-year plan, and also 4 months for free. Hard to get a better discount than for free. I mean, honestly, when Nord sent me all this information, I was like, you know what, this deal is too good for you. I was arguing against it, but they went out and they wanted to give you the best thing possible. So, alright, fine, I give up. And let's not forget to mention NordVPN's threat protection. With threat protection, you are safer than ever before against malicious websites, those dang, dirty reptilian websites. Pop-ups, get out of here. And trackers? Not anymore. It'll keep you protected from threats on the web. Nobody will track you, so you're kind of invincible. And you can like teleport anywhere you want to be on the internet. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. You're kind of OP actually. So once again, use my link in the description, that's nordvpn.com/thatchapter, to get a deal that is just for you. Thank you so much to NordVPN for sponsoring this whole video. I hold them closely before I go to sleep. Now let's get back to the video. Stephen Mineo was originally from New Jersey, someone who described himself as a survivalist who didn't need others, except when it came to money, rides, or kind of really anything. Getting a job just kind of really, just not really for him. Instead, he got by, survived on multi-level marketing jobs and, well, eBay. Apparently he was quite good with the old computers and would sell bits and dumpster dive and that kind of stuff. He did dream of joining up with the military, but his dad, Stephen Sr., he had been in the military, and so he, for whatever reason, he heavily discouraged his son from joining up. Instead, Stephen himself, he fell, kind of ass over tea kettle, into the world of finding the, quote, truth, unquote. This was after he lived in New Jersey, and he pretty much, 9/11 happened to pretty much right on his doorstep, so after that, he needs to know what really happened on that day. He created his own website, well, blog, Truth Seeker Blog, and it was dedicated to Yahuwah and Yeshua, that's God and Jesus, I understand. And Stephen was going down hole after hole after hole in all these just wackadoo, crazy conspiracy theories about all sorts of things, finding out what was really going on. He had been busy exposing the New World Order. Look at you! FEMA camps, the truth about 9/11 and the collapse, all the usual shit. Wow, the real truth about zombies. Now we're talking. Yes, this is literally the end days. I don't know how much time we have left before things get bad to where there is civil unrest, when the shit hits the fan. A lot of people are trying to warn you about these things. Most people that are aware of what's coming don't realize how bad it is really going to be. Prepare now, or regret it later. And all of this would eventually lead Stephen into the warm embrace of Sherry Shriner. In fact, it was through Sherry Shriner that Stephen and Barbara met. They met on one of her Facebook groups. They started chatting away. You know, she was asking questions about the stuff Sherry talks about, which, prepare yourself. And Stephen would answer. He was like one of her like lieutenants. They would talk, they started talking. That then went to like voice conversations and phone calls. Eventually she started going up to meet Stephen, and they fell in love. They began a relationship, and they even, after a while, became like husband and wife, like common law husband and wife. Barbara, she'd been in the military, and she'd been married once before and had 2 kids. One with her ex-husband, one from before her ex-husband. One of the reasons her husband became her ex-husband was Barbara developing chronic depression and psychosis. She had also self-harmed before, including drinking bleach, which, yeah, that's not great. That's not great. I think she had some shit going back to childhood. Eventually, Stephen and Barbara, you know, they would move together to essentially the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. They chose the Pocono Mountains kind of area because, well, that's where Stephen thought, you know, when the shit hits the fan, when the New World Order starts cracking down, you know, I'll be right here, so it's fine. I can prepare. It was going to be his base of operations and all that, this little one-room apartment. Good luck. So Barbara and Stephen, they met via Sherry Shriner, and then Stephen would end up dead. And Barbara would mention Sherry and her cult quite a few times after.
When me and him got together, she started turning on both of us.
What cult? Is there a name for that cult?
No, they call themselves Oregon Warriors.
Oregon?
Oregon Warriors, yes.
Like the state of Oregon?
Not Oregon, Orgone.
So who is Sherry Shriner? Well, that's not an easy question to answer, I'm going to be honest with you. Well, if you go back a couple of years on that chapter, and you look back at that Conspiracy Captain video I made, it's essentially that sort of shite about reptoids. Serious, full on. It's kind of comical until something like this happens. But yeah, she was 110%. The aliens are running the show, guys. Politicians, celebrities, all of them. They're all aliens. So, I don't know what you can do with it.
The entire deep state shadow government is run by the
They live.
Hello, folks. So check this out. 2 reptilians standing right in front of Steph Curry at the NBA Finals games. Look at her eyes. Look at his eyes.
You got the reptoids, you got the aliens, you got the New World Order, and then above them, straight from HE double hockey sticks, was the D-Man, and it was a war. Apparently, so better batter up.
I've been the mouthpiece of that agenda for the last almost 16 years now, alerting people to who and what they are, exposing their agenda, and getting